recorded, then share it.
I think I found it. All right, we back. Thanks, y'all. Look at that teamwork. I'm with all of that. I like teamwork. I hope I'm doing this right. I don't know, but we gonna see. Okay, so what was I talking about? Abuse or neglect. So when we have parents who lose their job, now you don't have money, right? Now you don't even have, because regardless of what some parents say, your kids going to school for some people is a break. Now I like my kids, so I'm all right. But when you know that, hey, my kids can go to school, I can focus on getting work done. I can focus on cleaning the house without them throwing more dishes in the sink. I can focus on going to the laundromat or getting laundry done. Or I can focus on things when my kids are away that I can't necessarily focus on when they're home. And so the thought of abuse and or neglect is actually really scary during this time, right? Because not only are your kids home, and so you can't put as much focus on the things that you normally would, but now you got to help them with school. And I don't know about y'all, but my kids got a whole lot of schoolwork that it's like, I'm working, right? So it's not that, hey, I'm just home, I can help you with your schoolwork. No, it's you're home. I can't clean the house. I can't cook the way I want to because I need to help you with your schoolwork. But not only do I need to help you with your schoolwork, but I also need to make sure that I'm working. So the ball is dropping somewhere, right? So I read some years ago, I read Shonda Rhimes' like Year of Yes. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was when she talked about how she's a mom, right? And is she a writer? I don't know. I read it, y'all. I did. She's something. Anyway, she make more money than me, so it is what it is. But she was saying how when she's at work, she's not a mom at that time, which sounds crazy, right? Because like, oh, you're always a mom. But you don't have to be a mom at work, right? Like I tell people all the time, when I'm at work, I parent because like that's pretty much all I know how to do. But I don't have to be as much of a parent to other people's kids as I need to be to my own kids, right? So if I'm failing being a mom while I'm at work, oh well, right? Like I'm at work. I'm not necessarily supposed to be a mom right now. So when you think about the fact that my kids are home, I'm working from home, my kids are doing their schooling from home, the house may or may not look a mess, you know? You think about all of those things, the lead into abuse and neglect is really easy, right? It's really easy for your kids to frustrate you when you're working, but they need help, right? And it's like, well, I don't have time to help you, but my job is to help you, but my job is to do my job in order for me to feed you. So I can't help you and feed you at the same time. I am like super duper duper blessed because Monday through Wednesday, my husband is here doing that. And on Thursdays and Fridays, you know, then not only does the lack of taking care of our emotional health affect abuse and neglect, but it builds unhealthy dependent relationships. Sometimes, and this is something I had to work on, we do things to please other people, whether it's our kids, whether it's our husbands, whether it's whoever it is. I'm doing this to please you, right? And they build this dependent relationship on us that we never thought about until we get to a point where we're like, I don't want to do this. Like, I really don't. But now we're the bad guys, right? Because we're saying no. So we have taught the people in our lives that it's okay for me to sacrifice everything that I am for you. So it's something that we need to think about. When we are as emotionally healthy as we should be, I can be like, okay, I can do this for you. Now it's probably not something I can do all of the time, but right now, sure, I can do it. Tomorrow, I might not be able to do it. Okay. Family dysfunction, responsibility guilt, which is something that I personally dealt with for a while. Because when you have kids, don't nobody tell you like exactly how to take care of them. Or like, even for myself, when I got married, I didn't know any successfully married people. And that's not shade. I just really didn't. And so there was no one to say, hey, like maybe this would help your marriage or maybe that. Every time I had an issue, it was like, girl, maybe you should leave. And that's not the advice that people should give. So I had to cut them people out because they was bugging. But So it builds this responsibility guilt, especially as a mom, because you want to be a perfect mom, right? So I want my kids to do all these sports, but then I want to do all these crafts, and then I want my kids to be straight A's, but then I also want my kids to spend time with me. But listen, it's not enough time in the day for the stuff you want. All right, it's just not. So think about what is most important. Do my kids need to, well, the oldest one probably need to do sports, but whatever. But that's not something that I'm pushing my kids for, right? The things that are important to me is we need to spend time together, and I need to like you. And you need to like me, because some days it's tough. I ain't gonna lie, it's tough. And so with that being said, we can't always take on all of these other things, and it builds guilt in us. Right? Like, oh, I'm not able to. Today, my kids had to go pick up their school stuff from school, and I was working, and I kind of felt bad, right? I really felt bad, because I'm like, oh man, like, I can't take them to do it. I'm the mom that I want to be there for everything. And I'm like, I can't do it. I really had to let go and like have my husband take my kids to pick up their stuff. But even then, like, recognizing the fact that like, hey, this doesn't feel good right now. I want to be able to do it, but being okay with it. Like, the kids aren't hurt. They're safe. They're here. They still laugh. They're fine. Okay. And also depression. So these are just some of the things that if we are not taking care of our own emotional health, that we may be dealing with within our families, but we're not acknowledging it because we haven't acknowledged the fact that, hey, emotionally we're drained as women, as moms, as people, period, as givers. We're drained. And so these are some of the effects on the family. When we talk about being emotionally unhealthy, I think that sometimes we don't recognize what the things do to our bodies physically. So I found this little chart, which was actually pretty cool, because it talks about how different things attack certain aspects of our physical, which is a big deal. So yeah. So y'all can look over that. Y'all need more time to look at that, or you want me to go? Any questions or anything right now? No. Oh, wait. Is it? Oh, y'all chatting. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. It's my first. I'm messing this up all the way. All right. No. What happened to my screen? Okay. All right, Kate, go ahead.
Can I say something about that anxiety and digestion?
Absolutely. Hey, Jen.
Hi. Hi, everybody. So my daughter, she's 14 now, but she was around 12, and she was always complaining about a stomach ache, like always.
Yes.
My stomach hurts. And I'm like, we took her to the doctor. Doctor's like, she's fine. We were like, okay, maybe we need to change her diet. So finally, we just started kind of opening the floor a little more for just discussion, about whatever it is she wanted to talk about. And it just turned out that she had a lot on her plate, and she was just nervous. She was nervous about a lot of things, and she was holding it all in and not talking about it. And that was the real reason why her stomach was hurting. So I always tell people, like, if your kid's always complaining about a bellyache, you should probably ask them, about other things other than what they ate, and if they need to use the bathroom, mainly what they're thinking and how they're feeling.
Yes. I'm so happy you said that, because I think a lot of the times if it's during testing time, we notice it a little bit more, right? So it's like, all right, you have the state test coming up, or it's Friday, you got a spelling test. And so, okay, I get it. But understanding that it's ongoing, it could be any time. So thank you for saying that, Jen. Thank you so much. I think I got this right now. I don't know. It might skip back. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that kind of leads to like the reason why I'm here. I'm just here to like also listen to everybody and learn from others, but also just to offer like my perspective on the physical aspect of it. But I just want to know, everyone on here, are you guys like all moms? Like, is everyone a mom? Nobody's a mom? Like, who's who? What do you guys do? Because I'm new to this. as well?
I'm not a mom, but I'm a school social worker.
Oh, okay.
I'm a mom.
Oh, go ahead, Kilgore. I'm sorry.
That's it. I'm a mom. That's all I got.
Okay.
I'm not a mom, but I
Okay.
am the principal of McGraw, so I want to learn.
Okay.
I am a
Same here.
mom and a school social worker.
Okay.
I'm a mom, and I'm a personal trainer, yoga teacher, and substance abuse evaluator for the Superior Court of New Jersey.
Awesome.
Oh, she doing big
Okay.
things.
Yeah, she is.
I'm a
So
mom
basically-
and a teacher. I'm a mom and a teacher, and it's a huge struggle sometimes.
Yes.
But
I can imagine.
I always try to remember family first. I can keep family first, then it usually works out for me.
Wow.
Guys,
So
I have
basically
no
what-
idea what is happening with this slideshow, but we gonna keep trying.
So basically, I was going to put in some statistics about, the lack of self-care and what it could do to our health. But then I was thinking, if you just do that, if I say, okay, stress leads to heart disease and heart attack, it's just going to make your blood pressure go up anyway. I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say that because we probably all know that and we probably heard it from somewhere else. But basically, the lack of taking care of ourselves, especially right now, can lead to poor health outcomes. And so I was thinking, so now what? Have we ever really been taught how to take care of ourselves? Have we ever been taught coping skills? We teach others how to deal with their issues. As a nurse, I do it all the time, and so do you guys as social workers. I'm like, but what about us? So how are we dealing with all this? So I'm basically coming on just to share my little perspective, but we have a lot of professionals here that can all kind of bounce off each other. But I was reading a story of a psychologist, two psychologists. One was a seasoned psychologist and the other was a beginner first year psychologist in the practice. And so he asked the seasoned psychologist of 30 years, what would you do what would you prescribe or what would you recommend for anxiety and depression? And then the seasoned psychologist was like, oh yeah, I'd prescribe 3 pills. And so the younger psychologist was like, what? Because psychologists usually don't even approach that. They usually do behavioral approach first, and then, So then he goes, oh, by the way, those 3 pills are good exercise, good sleep, and good exercise, good sleep, and good food, good diet. And so those are the 3 pills that he usually recommends. I don't know if my speaker is messed up or not. Give me 1 second. So that's what I was going to touch on my slides. Were just the 3 foundational things that can really help us, and we have access to right now in COVID. So that's where my slides in, and we're just going to bounce back and forth, me and Fran. But I would love to hear also your perspectives on this as well. But we can go ahead. So now what?
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna say, can I jump in?
Yeah. So I think
Everybody.
that my method to parenting, to work, to all of this has been take a chill pill, right? I'm a person who I'm really hard on my daughter. We started out with this really rigid schedule. We started out with we're gonna go outside at this time. We're gonna eat lunch at this time. And it was really, I wanted to keep order. I wanted to feel like I had control over all of this stuff, right? And I felt, what I ended up feeling is the more pressure I put on me and her to create what looked like the perfect plan or the perfect schedule, the more frustrating both of us became.
Oh, yeah.
And it got to a point of where, all right, it's a pandemic, we can't eat out because I don't know where everybody else is. Yeah, we had Chick-fil-A today and it was just fine for everybody.
Yes.
So I think we have this misconception, and it's something that I'm reprogramming my own mind too, of what self-care really is. And I think recently at McGraw through Burning, we came across this concept of recovery activities versus self-care, right? So self-care has become this you got to go to the spa and you got to take this 5-mile walk and you have to do all of these things that end up causing me more stress than helping me anyway. For me, recovery is let me sit in the car for 10 minutes and blast this music as loud as it can go And I know that when I get out the car, I feel different. I feel better. Those are the things that I want to focus on. So I do think that, like, I think we, normally as much as possible, yes, exercise, good health,
Yeah.
those things are important. But I think that in this moment, I think sometimes we have to kind of like let go of the reins just a little bit in order for us to like survive this. I understand like that we are all kind of going through this together as a parent, as a child, as a colleague, as a whatever, and like all the plans go out the window. Like we got to survive this in the most healthy way possible, and for me, mental health is like the biggest. So I just encourage everybody to like not stress yourself out trying to do the right thing, but just find whatever that thing is for you and your family.
Yep. So these three foundational things are all going to look very different to everybody. It's not going to all be just one uniform thing. And that's why I think it's what we're learning in this season. And like what you said, like you already know what's been working for you is that recovery. Like I just need 10 minutes in the car by myself to like breathe. So, and everyone's on like, what's it, survival mode right now. So yeah, so I was just going to highlight on the three, but like, I want to hear what everybody has to say, because this is just like a foundational thing. And that is so true, and so good that you even mentioned that, because it's not just like this is for everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening with the slides.
Jess, I really like what you had to say in the chat, the connection aspect of like just really building connections with other people. Like that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. One of the things is this time is very isolating too, especially when you're confined in your home, when, some are single mothers, or some, husbands are driving them crazy, whatever the case may be. Even if you don't have kids and you're alone, like it's very isolating, which adds on to the stress. And like one of the things, and you see this in a lot of substance abuse programs, one of the major things of combating substance abuse is having that mentor, having that person, that connection with someone. So this is kind of like in mental health, having that connection of at this time where you can connect with, especially connect ideas, connect, maybe if you don't even want to talk about something that is as stressful, but like you just want to laugh, you don't want to worry about, this pandemic or certain things, but that connection, whether it's on Zoom, I know a lot of people are doing like park meetups, social distance meetups, those kind of things, just to build connection. I think that's very important in anything that you do when we talk about mental health.
Yes, I 100% agree. 100%.
Yes.
So especially
listen, I got
the part, right?
happy hour. I got virtual happy hour scheduled like every day.
I want to come with my Twitter. All
I'm
right.
gonna invite you.
So for my slides,
so
the slides that I read, like if you feel like it's if you feel like you need to, like, I'm gonna ask after I read my slides, like, so what is this like to you? I might be talking about good food, but like just tell me what it looks like for you right now in COVID, because then we can all kind of like jump off each other and see how we can help each other in this time.
Right.
If I talk about good food, like, okay, I can't get this food right now because I definitely had Chick-fil-A like 3 days in a row one time. But like, just what does it look like to you, and how can we help each other and other moms even during this time? Anyway, go ahead, Fran. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I like that. So what it sounds like we're all saying is we need balance, right? During this time, what does balance look like? So for me, balance looks like doing what you can and stepping back when you need to, right? So like one thing is, I know that there's sometimes days where I'm like, man, I ain't got it, right? Like I don't have it. Yesterday was almost one of those days. If I could have kicked and screamed when I woke up, now mind you, I woke up at 8 o'clock. So it's not even like I woke up during a time that I normally wake up, but I didn't want to do anything yesterday. I really didn't. I don't want to help with work. I don't want to do work. I didn't want to do absolutely anything yesterday. So it's like acknowledging that. Now, listen, I got paid for yesterday, so I had to do something yesterday. Like I ain't have like the choice to be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do nothing. But what then gets us to a point where we can't step back, right? I had to laugh a little bit about some videos and then like hug and kiss on my kids a little bit. And then I was like, all right, I got a little bit of energy. Not as much as I normally have, but a little bit. It balances like saying no without explanation, right? Like, you coming over? No. Why, you busy? No. I just don't want to come. Like, I want to go home and do nothing. Like, then people always laugh, but I be dead serious. What else? Balance looks like making sure that you are taking care of yourself before we're taking care of everybody else. This thing is doing whatever it wants, y'all. Sorry.
Just go off for whatever you're.
Go ahead.
Just now, I was saying just read whatever or go to off your head or whatever. You don't have to follow if you don't.
Right. Tammy, what was your question? I missed it. Can you unmute and tell me what it was?
Says
How do we know when it's time to step back?
I think, first of all, I think it's different for all of us, right? Like some of us can take more than others. And so I know for myself, if I feel as though I'm compromising something, that if I'm compromising my happiness for somebody else, for me, it's time to step back. If I know that I really don't want to do something, somebody asks me, oh, can you run to Walmart? But I really, really don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it, right? And it's because my mental health has got to take precedence over making somebody else happy. So I think it looks different for all of us.
Got it.
What are some other things? Knowing when to stop working. So I think that that's my biggest thing, right? Especially now, it's really hard to put an end time to my work day. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's really hard because we're not in school where when I leave at 3:45 or 4 o'clock, that's it, right? Like I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't need to address anything because I'm done work. And I feel like now it's really hard because when you think about the fact that a lot of our students aren't waking up until a little bit later, a lot of our students were not able to get in touch with because their parents are at work, which makes sense, right? And so it's really hard for me to put a stop time on working. I'm trying to work on it, but it's really tough. And also like balance also looks like failing with grace. I feel like for myself, I'm quick to be like, listen, I'm failing at this and it is what it is. Like I'll work on it, but it's what it is. Like I ain't got nothing else. So now what, right? Now what? Which is what we're saying for everything nowadays. Like now what? So, I've been doing T25. Girl, listen. Yeah, Jen, you hype.
That's hard.
So one of the things, right, and this is going along with the idea of balance. So one of the exercises like these tricep dips with like you gotta kick your leg and put your arm up too. I got a little bit more weight to me than them people in that video. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna do all the tricep dips, but what we not doing is balancing on one arm. And that's my balance, right? Because lack thereof. But that's my idea of balance. I can't do that, right? My goal isn't to strive to do what they're doing. My goal is to do the best of what I can do. So can I now balance on one foot and one leg? Absolutely not. But I can do to mess out some tricep dips. I'm gonna tell you guys. Because I figured that part out, so that's what balance looks like. Failing with grace. Like there's times I look at that video and I be like, I'm gonna just wait till they finish this one because I'm not gonna make it. So, understanding what balance looks like for all of us. All right. Hold on, y'all. I keep opening this chat. You guys are more than welcome to unmute and say whatever you need to say. I'm not a tyrant or anything like that. So
I think that kind of goes into one of my my slides too, and we don't have to for my slides I don't have to go through them all in depth and stuff, but basically like you said, for one of the pills that I was talking about earlier, like the good movement pills, it might look different for somebody, and I think I do think a balance is needed, like you said, and it might be 10 minutes a day of maybe just walking and taking a breather. That might be your movement for the day. Like it's a, it's like about finding balance, like you said. I think that's so important.
Right.
And like the other girl said, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but she was like, everyone like wants to have this like perfect routine and perfect regimen, and that was definitely me. And I finally found like I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to live up to the standard or whatever standard I make for myself, the perfect mom or the perfect body, but a little bit of movement, a 10-minute breather, a 10-minute walk down the road. That's my balance.
Right.
But it's different for everybody. Maybe somebody can do the whole hour. I can't.
That part, me either. Yeah. So when we talk about some of the steps to becoming emotionally healthy, identifying our personal strengths and building on them. So what I will say is, I myself, again, I can't speak for everybody else, but I am a mom and I am a wife and I am a social worker. And my goal in life is to focus on the strengths of everybody else. Literally, I get paid to focus on the strengths of everybody else, right? And so it's really easy to see other people's strengths. Like, oh, you're really good at this, you're really good at that. But when we talk about my own personal strengths, when I tell you guys, that's probably the hardest thing for me to like even think about, because I'm like, I don't know, right? And so people tell me, oh, you're such a good mom. And I'm like, girl, you thought? Like, they are amazing because they were given to me amazing, like it's not like I had some magic pill that's like, oh my gosh, I'm such a good mom. But so seeing my own strength is kind of difficult. I don't know if it's difficult for anybody else, but I'm constantly like, okay, I could be better at this, or I could be better at that. Now, does it like get me down? No, because listen, what you see is what you're gonna get. However, it's really difficult for me to recognize my strengths. But if we want to talk about building our emotional health, I think it's one of the top things we do need to start doing. Is focusing on whatever strengths we do see in ourselves, right? Like, I think that I am a great listener. Now, my husband will probably say otherwise. However, I think anybody besides him, I am an amazing listener, right? Like, I can listen to what's going on. I can help you see what it is that you need to see without saying anything, right? It's pretty much like, so how do you feel about that? What do you think about that? Why do you feel that way? Why do you think? Okay, what do you think that you can do? I get paid to pretty much have you tell yourself what you can do. Like, that's great, right? Like, that's literally what I do. It seems really amazing, but like, that's what I do. Again, so also realistically seeing the positive in every bad situation. So for me, I am a silver liner all the time, right? Because life has been tough. And so when you come from a tough life, you learn to see positive in everything, right? Like, hey, well, at least this isn't the issue, or at least this isn't, I probably should say at least this isn't the issue, or at least this isn't happening. So it's learning to see the positive in every situation. Like, even this COVID-19 stuff, right? Well, it's not stuff. Never mind. So I was at Walmart, right? Because I do all these crafts and stuff with my kids because I like them and I want to spend as much time with them as possible. And so I wanted to do some crafts. And so I'm in the aisle and it's wiped out, right? Like, nothing. There's no craft stuff. And I was so proud to see that, right? Now, granted, I couldn't get the stuff that I needed, but that was fine. But I was really proud to see that. And the way I seen it, people were taking this time to have quality time with their kids. Now, I could be very wrong, but that's the way I seen it, right? Like, oh, there's no craft stuff because people are using this time to have quality time with their kids, right? What else you gonna be doing with this acrylic paint? Like, people don't just buy it just to buy it, unless they do, and then that's none of my business. The next thing is honing our resilience, but I want to touch back on that a little bit later. That comes after some stuff, but I want to talk about that a little bit later, which is why it's pink. Making time for hobbies and leisure. So now is probably one of the best times we have to create time for hobbies, and it doesn't have to be. What just happened?
You draw, friend?
No, I don't know what that is. Huh. Okay. We gonna leave it though. Okay, so making time for our hobbies, right? So I don't got that much time, but I'm a color a little bit. And how do I make time for that? How do I make time for that with my kids? So me and the kids gonna color, right? We're gonna put on some music and we're all gonna color at the same time. Oh, cool. You don't want to color? That's all right. Then you can draw. Pop hates coloring, right? Like he tells me all the time, Mom, that stresses me out. But Pop is really, really good at drawing. If you guys want, Pop is my son. I'm sorry. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't. That's my son. He's really, really, really good at drawing. And so while the rest of us are coloring, he's drawing, right? And then of course the baby wants to be everything like Pop. So then he'll try and draw too. So that's that. Also learning to live your own life outside of the thoughts of others. I feel like this is the biggest thing to our own emotional health, because a lot of the times we're so focused on what other people see. I know for myself, like a couple of years ago, I had a breakdown for myself because I was like, okay, there was this idea where it's like, okay, you're not being the type of Christian you should be. You're not being the type of wife you should be. You're not being the mom you should be. And like, that's not what social workers do. And that's not what Black women do. It was all of this stuff just like, okay, that I'm not living up to somebody else's standards. And then I realized, hey, they don't like the type of Black woman I am. Cool. So then you don't be that type of Black woman, right? You don't like the type of Christian I am. Cool. So you don't be that type of Christian. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I cannot take other people's opinions and make that my life, because that's clearly none of my business, because it's their opinion, right? It's not my opinions. It's not what helps me get through the day. So learning to live our own life outside of the thoughts of other people. Thoughts? Anything anybody want to say?
Yeah, that part made me think of also like the living your own life outside of thoughts of others, comparing yourself to other people based on what they're posting on social media. Because even the idea of like the schedules and the routines and all the memes that are popping up, like if you come out of this and you don't got a side hustle and a second stream of income, then you did this all wrong. It's like, oh my gosh. So like looking at that, if you were to look at social media and use that as like some sort of standard, you would drive yourself crazy.
That's
yeah, 100% agree with that. Because I'm gonna tell you,
and not everybody. Oh, sorry.
Who that?
That was me. So I took my video off for a second.
Oh,
I was saying that's true, because like people don't have resources. Not everybody has resources to do those things. If I can't get a side hustle, it's because I probably didn't have the extra money to do it.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not about my resources. I'm not coming out of this with a side hustle. I'm a social worker, end of story. I ain't doing nothing else. Okay.
Right.
I'm not coming out with a second stream of income. I mean, to people who do, more power to you. You know, like that's great. I think it should happen. But people should also do what works for them in their life. And developing a second stream of income is not what works for me right now. So it's not what's on it. You know, I want to make sure that I work an hour away from home, which means not only am I at work for 8 hours, but then I'm also out of the house for an additional 2 hours, right? So by the time I get home to my kids, it's normally like 5 o'clock. My kids go to bed at 8:30. So we got to have dinner. We got to have worship. We have to do all of this stuff. And so by the time I actually get like quality time with my kids, it's possibly maybe an hour or 2 hours a day. Right? So it's like 10 hours a week that I get quality time like during the school year with my kids. So now this is a time, silver lining, this is a time where I can spend as much time as I can with my kids. So what I'm not going to do is spend that time trying to be something for someone else on social media. I can literally soak up all of this time that I wasn't able to soak up before. And so that's when we talk about like what works for us emotionally. My kids work for me. I'm just going to be here watching Shrek 20 million times because that makes them happy, and making them happy makes me happy. Boom.
Now, and I think it's like I was going to say it's also like reframing your idea of what being productive is, because I think everybody's thing is use this time to be super productive. But if you just like resting can be productive, or like you guys have been saying, like whatever is good for you is still productive, because at the end of the day, you're like making yourself better and you're helping yourself emotionally. So it's still being productive. And I think just having that idea of productivity as one thing, if we
Right.
just like reshape the way that we think about it and think about it in a different way, then it'll help us to be more healthy.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
agree.
Agreed. All right, Kate.
Somebody wants to say something. No, somebody wants to say something.
Oh, go
She's
ahead. I'm
waving her
sorry.
hand, but I don't know who that. I don't know.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry for joining late.
That's okay.
Okay.
For those who don't know, I happen to work at the Dollar Tree at by Acme, and Francis invited me, had mentioned, this meeting, and, I figured, well, I might as well join because, hey,
Yeah.
I'm dressed out too. I know.
Yep.
So, and I figured I could also offer some of my insight of how I'm coping with all this. Given the
Yep.
fact that I am an essential worker, and
Is that me?
Yeah, I think we're losing her.
Oh.
She went outside.
I was gonna say this darn internet. Okay. Well, if she comes back, she can finish. Go ahead, Kate.
either.
Oh. What happened?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Kate.
Sorry, I didn't hear what she said.
Oh.
You can chat it. Alora, can you chat it, please?
Yeah. Give me a moment. To be fair, I'm still learning Zoom myself because Balticon 54, which is happening this Memorial Day weekend, is being held virtually. I'll post a link to the site in the chat. A Zoom call. I'll tell you later. I'll post a link to Balticon's website in the chat, because once cons were announcing they were canceling, the people who do the programming pretty much redid the whole programming schedule in less than 2 months. Balticon usually takes about 2 years to plan for one.
Right. Alora, can you just put it in the chat, please?
Yeah.
I got some people. We got 10 minutes, girl.
Go.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
So, basically sorry, I just got thrown off. So, all right. So we were talking about one of the 3 pills, and we already know that. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
My apologies.
No, you're good. Thanks for joining. You're good. You're good.
So this was just one of the pills that I had mentioned earlier, the good movement. But we all kind of know that, and we all kind of know that this is going to look different for all of us. One of the things that I did want to highlight from this, though, was the intentional movement. And I put movement instead of exercise because I think exercise becomes this whole thing nobody really likes to hear and nobody really wants to do. But movement is something that we can actually do and achieve at home. And so, but the biggest thing I was wanting to point out was intentional movement. Like I said, it's movement done exclusively for the benefit of our mind, body, and soul. And I know that I think we have a yoga instructor on as well. I think that's what somebody said earlier, which is perfect. And she knows all about this. And anybody who has ever done yoga knows how you just feel everything all just coming together, this mindfulness. And so I think if we can have intentional movement throughout the day as moms, as even in our work day, if we're sitting down most of the day at home, 8 or 9 hours, however hours you work at home. I'm still at work. I'm a nurse, so I'm still doing the whole shift, and I pretty much move in the whole 13 hours. I never really sit down. So one of the things chemically, I love science, so I just wanted to put this here that Moderate physical movement helps to expel unhelpful chemicals from our system, and it stimulates the production of helpful chemicals. It just puts our body in this like just a great state, and it helps us it's just good for everything. And so I think we, in this crisis, I think we should prioritize it. Especially, it's really helped me personally with self-care. When I come home from work, I'm just like, I'm absolutely over it all, because I'm dealing with COVID patients pretty much every day. It's just awful. But so when I come home, I do want to like move and work out, but that is hard, and you are drained most days. And so, like I said, this is gonna look different for everybody, but I do think at least some intentional movement during the day. What do you guys think of that when I say that? What do you guys think of when we talk about intentional movement? I don't even know if that's a good question, but I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Somebody already said something earlier, but
I'm with you, Kate.
oh, okay.
All right. So when I think of intentional movements, at least for myself, it's intentionally working out, right? Because I've been doing it for 6 weeks now. Very proud of myself. Or just, I don't know, like sometimes we go for family walks. Yeah, that's really about it for us. Like we don't do like a whole lot of stuff.
And that's fine. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be different.
Yeah, can I add to that?
Sure.
Yeah. So when you speak about intentional movement, right? I've been trying to work out. I've been trying to exercise since the whole lockdown, and it's very hard for me when I'm mentally exhausted. At the end of the day, I just can't. I cannot. Even if so, I have my friends who have prepared a schedule. They're following it, religiously. But when I've tried doing that, but at the end of the day, I just want to go back to bed. I don't want to do anything else because I'm working day and night, and when you say intentional movement or this 30 minutes movement or whatever, even I tell my clients, I tell my students, I tell my parents, I tell them exercise, it's good, but when it comes to myself, I'm just not doing it. And I can't, and I really don't know, like I would ask you all, like, what do you do when you're mentally exhausted? How do you manage to, push yourself and, work out? It is obviously good for health. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good question.
Yeah.
So
anybody want to answer first?
Yeah. For myself, that's pretty much the first thing I do. If I don't do it as soon as I wake up, then I'm not doing it. And that's pretty much that. So as soon as I wake up, I go straight to the living room. I have to get it done then, because I know that by the time I get the day started, I'm going to eat. So I'm definitely not doing nothing after I eat, right? I'm going to do whatever I need to do with the kids. I'm going to get relaxed. I'm not going to want to do anything after I'm relaxed. And so at least if I do it when I first wake up, that actually gets my day started. Because after you work out, you got to take a shower and then, you got to get to work. And so it's like this flow of like, these are things that I have to do. And like working out, I don't have to do, but I got to go to work. I got to take a shower. And so if I work out before, it just falls in line for me.
Yeah, I think that one of the bigger things also is like, what is your why of doing it? Your why of doing any type of movement or anything is what's gonna like kind of like fuel you to add this into your schedule. And it may not be an everyday thing, and it may not be the days that you work. But your why, it will be different than ours. So I don't know.
I would like to say, like I person, I have like scheduled workouts in the mornings, just like Francis. But I'm gonna be real. There's times where I wake up and I don't want to work out, and I think of like the intensity of what kind of workout I'm doing. So if there's times where I'm just tired or allergy season is kicking in, so there's some times where I just feel like a little sick, I do like a different low level workout. So it's not bringing the whole idea of a workout. So I may go for a walk. I may go for a run. I may go, something that's low level. I may even do stretches. I may even go into my on demand and put maybe like a low level yoga. Like to me, it's the small things. And you don't even have to have like your big goals. Even if you did something small, and even if you took a day off, that's just a day. Just you have to recover from that. Like that's just, it doesn't mean you fail. And I think like you have to change your mindset. Just because you take a day off doesn't mean you failed. It just means that's a day off. And I think that if you think to yourself, like, this workout is like, I ain't doing P90X. I may try it one time. I may try it one time and I'll be like, yeah, this is nice. Like I do an elliptical. And there's times where I'll wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like doing the elliptical. I know what once I get started, I push myself. I know the feeling, but I just can't. So I walk around my block. That's all I'm gonna get. That's all I'm gonna get in the morning, like that day. That's okay. Just start it a different day and you'll push a different day. But I think like, we set ourselves up with these expectations and we have to bring it down realistically.
Right.
Yep.
And can I add one more thing? I'm sorry. I don't know who said that cleaning the house wasn't exercise, but it is.
That part.
So that's
Yes,
okay. So
that is.
That's true.
Also,
It's true.
a good 3-song playlist that'll get you dancing, or that is intentional movement.
Yes.
It could be yoga or a workout. It could be it's legit movement. So whatever that is, no pressure.
That is
Listen,
so true.
I just got this low level like Apple Watch. And did you know if you're cooking or if you're standing, so if you're organizing something and you're standing, you're actually really working out. And it could be like you're organizing your pantry, you're organizing your clothes, you're organizing something. That is a workout. And it's a little bit stress relieving because you're organizing something that probably will may not make you feel good if you see the mess.
Right.
So,
agreed. So good sleep. Why do we need sleep, Kate?
Well, this is the other pill. So anyway, exercise, movement.
I don't know what that is.
Movement and proper rest and proper sleep patterns will help us with our energy. I think there was a study that said like about 20%, there's a 20% of energy increase in an average day when somebody exercises or moves and has proper rest. It was as equivalent and as effective as antidepressants for mild and moderate depression. So right now in this COVID crisis, some people have depression, especially seasonally. There's definitely seasonal depression there, anxiety. And I think along with what we were talking about, the good movement, good sleep is just as important. And I think that sleep is slept on. So sleep here. I just put some basic facts. I didn't want to make it too teachy, but I didn't really know the crowd I would have. So sorry if it's like teachy, but sleep is our daily restoration of damaged body components. We are literally running. We are stressed. And so sleep is gonna kind of normalize us. And it's also a major role in prevention of diseases. I know that sounds like really stretched out, but it's true. Good sleep prolongs life. Lack of sleep, which is less than 6 hours, which I'm pretty sure that's me 50% of the week, can be damaging. But so how do we get more sleep? Like how? What's the how? How does this even look during COVID-19? How does it look on a regular? I think building a routine, but like I said, like this will become a law. This can become like a thing where we're like, if we don't, then we feel miserable. But I think a routine is whatever type of routine that your routine is. I think we should build one for ourselves, especially in our families. My husband's a psychologist, so he kind of helped me with this. But like switching off any electronic devices, having like a dark room, even sound machines help. And like we said, lots of movement during the day will give us a greater urge to sleep. And practicing napping, that's pretty unrealistic, but I put it there. Or rest time with your families, especially if you have littles that still have naps. And my baby's only 1, so that nap, I'm napping with her and I'm cuddling with her. So that looks different for me. But so like, what does this look like for you guys in COVID? Like, how can we get better sleep, especially on the days that we're working? Some of you guys are working from home, and I think it was Laurie said she was working out. So how does this look like to you? good sleep? Does it even apply? Have you gotten good sleep in the past few weeks? Has it affected your day in any way?
I
Do
think I've
you
gotten
feel more
better.
energized when you have a full 8 hours, if you ever have a full 8 hours? Just trying to be realistic.
I've gotten better sleep because I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock, but I'm also going to sleep later. So I'm probably getting the same amount of sleep now that I think about it. If we're
I
being
feel
honest.
like the sleep wake cycle has changed.
Mm-hmm.
The wake cycle,
Yeah.
I've heard many people saying that to me. They sleep late in the night, and they sleep throughout the day, and they feel less productive because of that. And so I doubt, like, I asked them how many hours of sleep you have, like they say probably 5 hours, 6 hours. So I feel that is okay if you're sleeping for 6 hours. Isn't that right? Like if you're sleeping for 6 hours, be it day or night, but at least you're sleeping at this current situation, whatever is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. For me, I told you sleep. The days before work, I do worry. I do worry about going into work. I do worry about my coworkers. So I've been getting several calls that just actually told Fran yesterday. Just like two of my coworkers got the COVID, and I worked with them on these particular days, and they're asking me if I had any direct contact. That stuff stresses me out, and I'm pretty sure tonight I'm not gonna have a good night's sleep. I have to work on that. But I'm pretty sure I've had like several bad nights of sleep, especially the days before work. I'm usually up till midnight or later, and I have to wake up at like 5 and then have a full entire shift. And yeah, so I've definitely had some sleep trouble, especially during COVID. And I don't know. I don't know. I've tried. I turn off my electronic device. I turn off, everything, put on sound, and still just have trouble. But I try, like, especially on the days off, I am sleeping, and maybe just asking my husband to help me with the baby in the morning. But that's what it looks like to me. It's been a struggle.
Well, the good thing is, or not the good thing, but maybe it's your diet. Let's talk about good food.
Yeah.
No, Kanan, my husband has issues sleeping, and I know that we were doing like NutriBullet stuff for a while, and there was like some sort of recipe that did help him with his sleeping. I don't know what it was. Maybe he can find it for you, but it did help a lot.
Yeah. So basically here, I didn't put so much food that could help with sleep, but there are foods that do aid with sleep. But basically just for like energy and mood boosting, especially if we're feeling anxious or sadness or if you're not, that's fine. But if you want just like a boost of energy, I think some of the foods here, which is basically, I just put fruits. I just put all the main things, vegetables, meats, but I try to put things that are perishable, because these things have a lot of nutrients that we could use. Sometimes we don't have access to it. You go into a grocery store now and can't find a thing. So it's not realistic, but if we can, trying to eat foods that give us energy. Smoothies are great, but like I said, this is different to everybody. Where was that? And not everybody has access to the best foods, and that's okay too. But the biggest thing, and I think I put it on my last slide, that's what I was trying to look, is just, it's not saying, this is the slide, sorry. It's not saying that stop eating junk food, stop going to Popeyes. No, it's just saying we need to practice mindful eating in this time, because we can clearly stress eat. At work, all they bring in is bad things. Things that probably my boss don't even eat, but she's bringing it in for us to eat. So it's very easy to want to stress eat during this time, and I do think that will affect how we think, how we feel. And so that's what some of the things I put here. What we eat and when we eat will determine our mood. And I mean, just look at comfort foods. Look what it does to us. We feel good in that moment. It does have an effect on how we feel. And you don't need to be a diabetic to experience the way some foods make us feel. Some foods make us feel cranky and irritable, others make us feel happy and energetic. But just mindfulness. And I think that's what everything we've been talking about, just mindfulness. What we're eating, how we're moving, how we're thinking. And what was the other one? I'm losing my mind here. What we're eating, how we're moving, just being mindful. So how does, I don't know, how does this look like for you guys? I just keep wanting to ask because I've also benefited the past few minutes from your guys' responses.
I can chime in on the food portion
Mm-hmm.
because I started doing some. We got this little tray from the dollar store. It has like 8 spots on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just put fruit, chopped up vegetables in it. Like today we had cherries and melon and grapes and basically whatever's in the fridge. Number one is nice because it helps things not to go bad, and number two, it keeps them out the pantry. You know, they're not getting, because we got some Oreos and some Cheetos and all that stuff in there too, but it helps them limit that consumption, and also it's just a great snack. And it helps me too, because you know, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. You go in the kitchen, you got on the table this great tray of fruit already ready to go. You just grab something, you go about your way. And they water bottles, I got them their own like water bottles, and I just say fill it up and keep it on the counter or put it in the fridge or whatever you want to do, and they just drink from that throughout the day, which helps them consume the amount of water that they should be consuming every day. So that has helped a lot. And if people feel like they don't have access to fruits and vegetables, I live in Vineland, so it's nothing but produce places out here. Produce stands, produce stores, and everything. And they always sell things much cheaper than the grocery store, and you get more of it. And the good thing about fruit, especially, is you can freeze it. Like you can freeze it, and then, you know, if you feel like it's going bad, or you can juice it, or it's just a lot of other things you could do with it. You can make banana bread if you feel like your bananas are bad, or banana pancakes. There's just a lot of ways to stretch it and use it in different ways than I ever knew when I was growing up. You know, we probably had like apples and bananas, I think, and grapes was really the only fruits I was exposed to as a child. And all vegetables came from a can. You know, we didn't, unless it was Thanksgiving. You know, other than that, and then we turned the vegetable into a meat. So I don't know. You know, that's how I grew up.
Turning potatoes into latkes for Hanukkah.
Seriously. But yeah, just keeping it accessible, because today we put mangoes in there, and my daughter Jada was like, oh, I didn't even know we had these. Like, she would have never even reached in a fruit basket that looks cute to get a mango.
If I may chime in about the whole stress eating, lately as I mentioned in the chat, I have ADHD, and the medication I'm on just pretty much helps me not drink sweet things. And like, I don't want soda as much. I've been drinking a lot of water. Some of you who know me know I like my Monster Energy drinks. I've been drinking the Ultra Zero Monsters, and I don't miss the sugar.
Good.
I don't miss the sugar, and it's just like my brain, sorry, words. I feel like my brain needs the caffeine and the other stimulants to help me cope through the shift, because, like I said, I'm an essential worker. And, oh my God, yes, the candy is like right there. It's so tempting, but it's like, nope. I'll grab a Slim Jim because I know the protein will fill me up. Because it's like, I could have that candy, or I could satisfy my hunger on my break. So, you know, I've been making myself more aware of, like, avoid the junk food. It's tempting, but no. And I have water bottles. Like, I keep them constantly filled up, and I've been drinking a lot of water. And when I drink coffee, I'll just drink it without any cream or sugar. It's an acquired taste, I can assure you. But other than that, like, I really don't miss sweet things. I really don't. And as someone who has ADHD, I function better. I function better without all that excess sugar in my system. If I want a sweet thing, I'll just grab a piece of fruit.
Right.
So
That's good.
That's what's up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
So, what are the signs of being emotionally healthy, right? So, this is just a list of what some people with oh, Charmaine, you could have unmuted and said that multivitamins or vitamins or supplements to add to your smoothie. Okay, maybe I should try smoothies. I'll think about it.
Smoothies every day.
Jen,
That's
you be
so
selling
good.
them juices. I might get a couple.
All you need is like what's left over. Add all of it, and then add some spinach, and you're good.
I need to
That's what I
figure it
did
out.
today. Yep.
Okay, so people with good emotional health, what are we able to do, right? And so this is after we think about our sleep that we're getting. We think about the food that we're getting. We try to add some movement to our day, okay? We are able to accept changes and go with the flow. I would say that now when we think about the idea of accepting changes, I think at this point we taking any change that'll come because everything is changing every day, right? And so we don't have like a stable way of doing things right now. What happened? Somebody said something?
Oh, sorry, I just thought me.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I muted myself.
So yes, going with the flow. Hold on, sorry. Going with the flow, having less stress and better equipped to deal with stress. I think the thing is, like, we don't want to have the idea that, like, hey, if you do all these things, you won't have any stress, because that's not true, right? I want everybody to know, like I said in the beginning, I'm super realist. It's not true. We're gonna have stress, right? There's gonna be traumatic events. I think we are while yes, we are in the middle of a crisis right now, we are probably doing a lot better than we were in the beginning. Some of us are. And so understanding that we are going to always have stress is going to always come in different ways. But if we are paying closer attention to our emotional health, it allows us to be better equipped to deal with the stress that comes. And so that's the goal. The goal isn't to not have stress. The goal is to have the coping skills to deal with that stress that does come. Okay. Having better relationships with others. So like I mentioned in the beginning, like when we are not emotionally healthy, we are doing things within our relationships that could cause them to, potentially fall apart because we're not taking care of ourselves. And so while we may be having these outbursts, angry outbursts, or crying fits, or however you deal with stress. For myself, it just comes out in anger all the time, right? Like everything irritates me once I'm stressed. Everything, right? You can try and hug and kiss me, and I'm instantly irritated because I'm already stressed, right? And so understanding that it could help us have better relationships with others, and also just being content, right? And I think Ambi mentioned it earlier, not looking to social media and what other people are doing as the standard for what we should be doing at this moment, right? So it's learning to be okay with our life. Do I know people like my age that probably has way more than me? Absolutely. Do I care? No, right? Because how does what they have or what they're doing, how is that in any way going to help me and what I got going on, right? It's not. And so therefore I can't use other people as the standard. Like, hey, that's cool, congratulations, now I'm gonna go mind my business and do what works for me. And so these are the signs of being emotionally healthy. What do we think about that? I feel like something's going on in the chat, but I can't get to it. Thoughts, questions, ideas?
I definitely struggle with that. Not so much. Yeah. Where was I going with that? I did feel for a while I was struggling with like just the comparing game as I'm a first time mom, so I wanted to be like up here, and definitely life humbled me. So I know that I can't be like the other moms out there or the other coworkers or my other coworkers. I could just be the mom that that God chose me to be, that God has called me to be, and that's doing with what I can within my limits. I'm limited in what I can do and everything, and so I think a lot of self-care is needed in order to be emotionally healthy, mind, body, and soul, and mindfulness. I really enjoy this whole thing, by the way.
So when we talk about like things to do for self-care, and I think that this can be changed to what Kilgore said earlier, they are pretty much recovery activities instead of self-care, right? So this is just a list of things that I do. This is not like, okay, everybody should do this. This is what helps me, right? So if I'm at work, I think I got a whole lot going on. I got a whole lot of sensory things going on, right? So if you've ever been in my office, you're going to smell some stuff, you're going to see some stuff, you're going to hear some stuff, because it helps me focus. And so I'm always listening to something while I'm working. My husband actually thinks it's kind of weird because I can be working and listening to TV at the same time. And then he's like, "You're not even watching." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And it repeat to him exactly what happened. And he's like, "Well, you're not working." "Yeah, I am." And then I'm showing him what's happening, because for me, I just, that's trauma, y'all. Don't be doing that. Like, right? Like needing all of that crisis and all that stuff happening at once. Like that's how you're able to get through it. I have now obviously like been able to turn it in a way that has been beneficial to myself. But yeah, this is just stuff that works for me. So coloring, right? Doing puzzles. I'm gonna tell y'all now, I ain't gonna lie. I buy a whole lot of puzzles. I don't think I've finished any of them yet. However, I like puzzles, right? So I'll do them for like a day, and then then we'll see what happens. Reading or Audible, or I say watching TV, but a lot of the times I'm listening to the TV. I'm not actually watching. I put exercise on here because it's new to me. I might stick to it. I might not, whatever. Going out with friends, not now, because we ain't supposed to be going nowhere. Stay home. But like when and if the opportunity arises again, like going out with friends. Now me, I stay home. I don't really go nowhere. I ain't even gonna lie. However, some of y'all might want to go out with your friends. Go do it. And enjoying time alone. That may be difficult right now, especially if you have children, right? It may be really hard to enjoy time alone. This is what I'm going to say. That does not mean like going in your room for an hour or whatever the case is. What that means is if you can use the bathroom by yourself for 10 minutes, use the bathroom by yourself, right? Like that's literally what that means. If you can like sneak up, my kids are older and I still sneak off to the bathroom sometimes. Be like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I just be on there, like in there on my phone watching TikTok. But I need it, right? Like I need be like, woo, they doing it today. It's a lot today. So these are just some of my recovery activities. What are some things that you guys do? Like maybe we can bounce ideas off of each other, because the puzzle thing is getting a little old, and I keep wasting money. I think Kanan's over it.
You're valid in how you feel, Francis. I don't know if any of you are gamers. Like, I usually play video games to unwind after a stressful day. I play Animal Crossing. It's really fun. And often I'll turn to video games, or I'll throw on like a couple of videos from like YouTube from Loading Ready Run, or try to catch up on a couple other videos from like Critical Role or something, just to get caught up and also to listen and maybe get a good laugh in,
Right.
So I've been really quiet, mostly because I just love processing and listening, but this has been a really big goal of mine. I didn't realize that my husband is also working around patients or around people that have COVID, and it's really stressful. And I didn't realize that my trigger was actually driving him to work. So I stopped driving him to work. And then I meditate instead, and it's only 5 minutes. And it's called Waking Up, and it's actually really cool because I've done meditation before where it helps you focus on just one thing, but instead it helps you focus on sound and like letting the sound leave and letting it go. And it treats it more academic-y, which like isn't so like catchy or trendy. So my recovery is more of like a replacement right now. I don't know if it's going to work forever, but instead of doing it as reactive, I'm trying to do it proactively.
Okay, cool.
That's
Anybody
fine.
else?
Well, I hide in the bathroom at the end of the day, and I literally stay there for like an hour. Usually, it's usually
Hour? Girl, I said 10 minutes.
So
it's
what I've
usually
learned
whenever-
from this call is when I become a mother, just hide in the bathroom.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
it. Check.
I love being a mom, but literally at the end of the day, when everyone's asleep, usually I'm always the one. You're always the last one up. Well, not Fran.
Not
But,
me. I go to sleep.
a lot of moms are usually the last one up, and so anyway, I just go to the bathroom, and that is my me time. And I've been finding that has been so helpful for me. So what happens is I take my shower, all that, and then I just sit and I read a book or just a chapter of a book. That has changed my life. Whether it be the Bible, whether it be a chapter from a book, it has been so helpful. I wasn't really a reader until I met my husband. All these books, but now I'm a reader, and I'm like, wow. And quarantine has just like even brought it out more so. And I'm like, I want to buy all these books, but I gotta chill out, please. But yeah, that, and also just like incorporating a workout routine has helped me. Yeah. Oh yeah, mommyhood is the best.
Have you all tried gardening by any chance?
Gardening.
That's my husband's thing. He
Kitchen
will
gardening.
garden all day. I did hear that's very therapeutic.
Yeah, it's grounding. It's called grounding. Like, you are in touch with the Mother Earth, and that's kind of something which I'm trying. And it is stressful because you just don't know what you're doing. So, but then I research on it, and I try to do it, and it's kind of therapeutic. Yeah, something which I do now.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
You can.
All right. One is I love comedy. You guys some of you already know that about me. So I like to go on YouTube and watch Dave Chappelle old stuff, or Eddie Murphy, or George Lopez. Like, they're just so hilarious to me. So that's one thing that I do. Like, I literally go, because sometimes it's not appropriate for kids to hear, so I will go hide in the bathroom. 10 minutes is never enough, but my kids will bust into the bathroom with me, so it kind of really don't matter. I haven't tried the car thing. Maybe I'll try the car thing, like go hide in a car. That might work. Reading, I heard someone else say that reading has become like a great thing during this time. I must admit, like, I read so much more now, whether it's like about what I like, my profession, or just like for entertainment. I've run into some garbage, but anyway, reading has been a great thing. So comedies has really like pushed me through this time, like just to keep laughing and keep smiling, because it'll get better, but we just have to get through that time.
Right. I'm interested to know what kind of garbage it was. Like, what book was it? So I don't read it.
I'm not going to put someone's craft out there, because what may be garbage to me may be treasure to someone else. But okay. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah, I think I love comedy too. I mean, I feel like most of y'all know if I'm gonna get a joke in. Like, I'm gonna laugh about something, because my mom used to say, and I still don't understand this saying, but she used to say all the time, like, I forgot what she used to say. But something about laughing. She used to say like something about like laughing to keep from crying. That's what it was. I still don't know what that means, but I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna always laugh. I'm gonna find a joke. So I agree, Rivera. I agree. Comedy is always the way to go. Kate, what are some ways to get moving? I think we talked a lot about this earlier.
I thought we already did.
We did.
This, but okay.
We can skip it.
Be creative. That's all.
Okay, I'm with that.
Since we're running out of time.
Let's see. So what's now, right? We've been saying that a lot today. What's now? What now, Kate?
Oh, what now? Sorry, I'm like in the chat. I just think the biggest thing was just being mindful, being aware of trying to be aware of what you're eating, how you're moving, how you're sleeping, how you're connecting. Somebody mentioned that earlier. How you're connecting to others, how you're connecting with nature. Somebody said they was taking up gardening, and I think, I don't know. It's gonna be different. The whole what now will be different for everybody.
Right.
So I don't know. It's gonna look different for all of us as we were talking, and I appreciate that the diversity and how this is gonna look like in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, so when I said earlier about honing in on our resilience to get us through this, I said I was going to come back to it. And so like, this is me coming back to it, right? So when we talk about resilience, first, we talked a lot tonight about self-care, right? And through our practice of self-care, you build a resilience. And so that's what I mean by resilience, right? So you've learned how to take care of yourself. You're able to then like face these different situations in a better way. And so the good thing about this is when we learn our own like self-care and resilience personally, those of us who have children, it now allows us to teach our kids, right, that like their own types of self-care. But then there's also this idea of family self-care. Like, what do we do as a family? And I think I should start using the term that Kilgore mentioned earlier, which is like this, the idea of family recovery. We are in this crisis situation, some of us as whole families. And so we're not in it alone where it's like, okay, I just need to focus on myself. I need to figure out how I'm going to get through this. And while, yes, we still need to figure out how we're going to get through it, at the same time, we need to figure out how to coach our kids through this as well. And so we have this idea of family resilience and family self-care. Earlier today, I wasn't able to put it in this but if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I posted this self-care for families sheet, right? And for myself, I was able to, I printed it out just so I can see like what, first of all, I wanted to like gauge my own family self-care, because I was like, whoa, doing a whole lot of talking. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about. So I was able to like print it out and just check off the things that I do or that we do as a family. And while yes, there are some things or some areas where we could be a little better. I mean, the physical area, it wasn't much that we do as a family together there. But just thinking about what we can do and what activities we can do to recover as a family. And then when we finally do get back to school, we can still have this idea of family recovery within our schools, right? Or within our working environments. We can still come back to that idea of the family recovery. Thoughts, ideas, questions?
We started doing chop challenges now.
Wait, what's that?
Did y'all ever watch Chop on Food Network?
Girl,
okay, so
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you like whoever cooks dinner is at risk of getting chopped, or if the kids they got a recipe that they want to make, and then we all sit around and we try it, and the kids are using terms from the show like the texture is tough or something crazy. It's hilarious, and your biggest fear is to get chopped.
That is so cool though.
But it's fun, sometimes we go live like on social media and do it because it's so funny.
Yeah.
And so we do that. My husband fixed all the bikes because we are a family that everybody plays multiple sports, and I'm in grad school and we're never home. And my husband and I were like, wow, this is the longest we've been in our house since we purchased it. So it's been really great. So we've been able to do a couple of things like fix the bikes and go on bike rides and just get in the kitchen together. My daughter and I have a little book club. we read
Yeah,
together
I've seen
and, you know,
that.
that type of stuff. So I like the list that you posted, though. Those are some good ideas. We're going to try those out. But I have kids of all ages. Like I have a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old. Well, she'll be 15,
Wow.
and a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. So, you know, trying to find things that appeals to everybody is important.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. I know for us, we are a huge board game family. Huge. Like we love board games. Like we're kind of weird that way. But that's like our biggest thing. The good thing about the list that I posted earlier though, and I think Charmaine put it in the chat if anybody want to check it out. The good thing about that list is it talks about family self-care and different aspects, right? So the emotional family self-care, the physical, the spiritual, mental, practical, and social, which are all different aspects that we need to attend to as people. And so when we're able to go through this list, I think it's really cool to see if we are hitting each of those categories with our kids, or even with ourselves first, because like I said, we got to do it for ourselves first before we can do it with our kids. But eventually we want to get to the point where we are teaching our kids their self-care, but we have the self-care and resiliency as a family. I'm super passionate about families, y'all. Like that's my thing. Like that is my thing. If you know, then you know. But yeah. So anything else? We can chat if you guys want. This was the end. Questions, thoughts, comments?
What I was going to say is, I don't think you're weird for enjoying board games. Board games are fun. They help your boredom.
Oh yeah, we definitely do love board games. We just love them.
And I mean, like, aside from like going to like a store to get a board game, I know hidden level games in Vineland. Like they do like the whole curbside pickup thing and all. And then there's the comic book store up in Glassboro, which is another of my local game stores. They don't just have like, comics and, minis for like, tabletop RPG games. They also do have some board games.
Okay, well, when it's safe to go, girl, let me know. I
will. Don't you worry.
All right, y'all. Y'all want to talk or y'all want to go? What y'all want to do?
I'm going to head out, but I just wanted to say thank you, Gonzalez. This was phenomenal. We are very lucky that you are our social worker.
Yes, you are.
Hi, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.
No, this was great. Great information. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys. How do I stop recording it? I missed the beginning.
I'm glad I was able to join. Like I said, I'm sorry for being late. I kind of forgot, and I'm like, wait a minute. I said I was going to do this.
No, you are good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, stop recording. It's going to save to my computer?
Yeah, once you start recording. Oh, I don't know if it'll stop recording until you end.
Oh.